Sunrisers Hyderabad have managed to snap a three-match losing streak. They've beaten the Chennai Super Kings and inflicted upon them just their second defeat this IPL. All too comfortable in the end, but these chases can get tricky, and they would have been had Johnny Bairstow also followed David Warner. Both the openers again getting half centuries, so it's a similar story for Hyderabad. The openers getting runs, Rashid Khan getting the wickets, much improved bowling performance that had CSK restricted to just 1-3-2 after Suresh Raina won the toss and chose to bat. They did miss the leadership and mojo of MS Dhoni, and that is a loss. And it also ends a streak with the Sunrisers having finally beaten CSK, I think after losing to them in 4 games on ESPNcricinfo Match Day T20. Got Sean Tate and Murali Kartik. This game decided at half time for you, Kartik, at 132?
Yeah, you have to say that to a certain extent, but not exactly. The reason being that had they got early wickets, it would have been a completely different scenario. And did they miss a trick by not using the spinners early on? Because when you know that there's possibly your spinners are your best options. Yes, Deepak Chahar has bowled well, but with 3 good spinners, if they had struck early, that was the only chance.
That's an interesting point to make, and perhaps if they would have had a regular captain, maybe it would have made that little difference. But you agree with Kartik that even at 130 it could have been made closer?
They can be tricky chases, there's no doubt about that. You know, it's not a fantastic batting wicket, it's a decent batting wicket. So yeah, I think if they threw the dice with those spinners early on, it might have just changed a few things. You bowl on a guy like David Warner in that sort of mood, the seamers, he just gets a hold of them and it becomes an easy game for him. So I tend to agree, yeah.
Okay, let's move to our matchday match points, shall we? And a big win, important win this for Sunrisers Hyderabad. But it's the Warner and Bairstow show. And we made this point earlier too, Kartik. When these two bat, it looks like it's a different pitch. Suddenly you don't think things are happening. And then the minute 3, 4, 5 all come in and, we see a different level.
Yeah, when you talk about forging a great partnership, what they've also done is that you can liken them to the Gilly Haydos partnership. What they used to do was they had this great understanding. Every time it hit the bat, they would run. And that's exactly what these two do. Yeah. You can say that one is from Australia and the other man is from Yorkshire, but it seems as if that they understand each other, not only when it comes to complementing, when the other man is going and you play second fiddle, you're an ideal foil, or when it hits the bat, they seem to have this unsaid understanding that they will run. It's just unbelievable. So they're definitely going to miss. Sunrisers Hyderabad are not looking a great side minus these two. So once Johnny Bairstow goes, once David Warner has to go,
you got Williamson a bit out of form.
Big holes to plug.
Sure, and it's a good point Kartik makes about just the value of the opening partnership. You look at the list of the all-time list of the most runs by an opening pair in an IPL season, and you'll find Bairstow and Warner at 2, and Warner features, he's a regular member of this club. You got Shikhar Dhawan and him up top, you got Dhawan and him below, Dhawan and him after that again. So 15, 16, 17, they dominated. And you also have Parthiv Patel and Lendl Simmons just for variety in that list too. But it's a good point Murali Kartik makes. They're already in half the innings at number 2, Teddy.
Well, actually they're probably not going to pass it because I think Bairstow's heading off.
They've got one game. They could easily do it in one game with the
They could certainly do that in one game. But that's amazing though. David Warner, those top 4 there, and obviously with Shikhar not playing anymore, he's been lucky that Bairstow stepped into that partnership role with him, and it's working really well. You're right, it's a chemistry, isn't it? So chemistry at the top of the order is always very important. You talk about the great opening batsmen of all time, you go through the eras, great chemistry at the top, and these guys look like they're forging that.
And Johnny Bairstow's apparent weakness against leg spinners have got him out today. He had the job of seeing the chase through. He had a couple of good leg spinners on him. Good little different role for him, responsible role for him.
Sometimes these things are played up because if it's a genuine weakness, then you struggle against them. Over here, I think when you're trying to attack, you end up losing your wickets. I think he's a far more improved player of spin. In the last couple of years, I think he's one refreshing change to the way the English bat, like KP used to use his feet and run down the track. I think Johnny Bairstow is in that same mold. Otherwise, you only see Englishmen sticking to their crease and then sweeping, trying to get out of jail. He runs down the track and hits you. So that's a great thing which he has added to his armory. So I don't think it's an apparent weakness, but yeah, today, whether it was Imran Tahir or Karan Sharma or Ravindra Jadeja.
And quick word, Terry, from you on just what the feeling of the mood of this batting camp would be, because you have those two. Then you got Williamson 3 of 5, Shankar 7 of 11, Huda 13 of 16. It would have been a nice day for someone to just get a nice 30 odd in, at a strike rate of 110. That's not happened. So there would still be some concerns.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a trend for them, hasn't it? So Again, I mean, Shankar, he's a guy that you just look to. He's going to get runs at some stage, surely. He's good enough. And Williamson, I just think, again, go over it again, but if he starts making runs leading into the final series, it's going to be important, because if these guys head off and go, I don't know what the story is, but obviously Bairstow is going to go, so you'll need someone like Williamson to stand up and be that other run scorer at the top order.
All right. Well, they've got that problem to sort in time now. The fact is they've got two very important points. But it's not only the batting. 130, you think that you have to compliment their bowlers. And we spoke of Rashid Khan at the start of the show as Rashid Khan, who's not got more than one wicket in any of the games going into this game. He's also, batsmen are looking not to attack him, but he bowled a crucial little spell that derailed Chennai's, express. So let's focus on Rashid Khan. 2 wickets, big ones too. Suresh Raina and Kedar Jadhav back to back.
Was he watching our show?
I think everybody.
I think he
watches
took it very
show.
seriously.
Yeah, no, I think everyone watches.
He says you guys are talking about me that I can't take wickets. Even in the defensive prod, I'll get to.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Look, he's an exceptional bowler in world cricket right now, and Teddy made a great point. Sometimes when you are playing all these competitions and with all the technology available, when you can dissect a bowling action and see the nitty-gritties of his different variations he has, it's difficult to follow up season after season. Sure. But the way he's been bowling well, whether it's BBL or PSL or whatever I think it just shows the quality of a bowler. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's got that kind of respect shown to him.
We tend to forget he's still just 20. I mean, it's not like he's playing around for donkey's years. And you have a guy he's used to getting wickets, who hasn't got them.
Why have you got that cheeky smile on your face?
Because I'm just amazed at the maturity he shows. Right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But that point that Kartik says about the way that he's backed up his seasons, that's been the most impressive thing. He's a confident guy. He gets in the face of batsmen. Usually see the fast bowlers doing it, and a bit like the sort of worn way of doing things. And it's just good to watch. It's enjoyable watching him.
Right. Well done to Rashid Khan. I'd be interested to see if he does get man of the match for this performance. If I could just speak of his 2 wickets though. Suresh Raina went after him, which is something most batsmen have chosen not to do. Was that, now in hindsight, looking in hindsight, slight error on part of Raina to not take on Rashid Khan, or too much reading into one situation?
Yeah, look, he does play that way, doesn't he? Suresh Raina is always that kind of a player who's going to try and take on a bowler. Whether at that point of time was it required as a captain, it's always debatable. But the other one, he's a good player of spin, Kedar Jadhav. He read that it was a googly, but still couldn't read how much it was going to spin. So yeah, brilliant 2 deliveries. Overall
bowling performance very good too, Teddy. You look at Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who suddenly now looks like he's getting back into some form of rhythm. Wicketless, but just 21 and kept things quiet with the new ball. Khalil Ahmed, on the other hand, backing his last game up with 1 for 22 or 4.
He's impressive, Khalil. Siddharth Kaul's been pretty good for this side over time, and he's been left out, and Khalil's stepped up and been really good. Again, in another guy that gets in the batsman's grill a bit. He's not afraid of the contest. Probably their best bowling performance for the tournament so far.
It's a good point Sean makes it, because the rest of the guys go well, then suddenly those aggressive shots come for Rashid Khan. Otherwise, early on the season, they were getting 40s of 1 or 2 bowlers.
Yeah, and also look, I think we compared what Bhuvneshwar Kumar has done in the first 3 or 4 games, and then what he has done post that.
Yes.
So the first few games, obviously, if you have to be the defender and the aggressor, it's a tough thing to do in just 24 deliveries. So if things can be made easier for you with your opening bowlers and your seamers bowling well, I think Rashid Khan can attack even more.
Okay, well done to Rashid Khan, and Sunrisers are going back to that mould or formula of last season, where the bowlers keep things tidy and the batsmen, especially led by David Warner, tend to get them over the line, which is exactly what happened. Quick word on Chennai. They had 4 wins on the trot. They've now just picked up a second loss of the season, both away from home. And did they miss MS Dhoni? Not just with bat, but let's talk about a few tactical calls. Kartik, what about the call to bat first now, if you look at the end of this game?
I don't think it was a wrong call.
Okay.
Very honestly, if you heard what Kane Williamson said, even he wanted to bat first, and it's not an easy chasing wicket. Look, even today, couple of wickets, things turn for the chasing team. It's just that in the 9th over, where they were, Chennai, with the Watson Duplessis start, and where they ended up, I think that's where they'll be kicking themselves. Because even if they had got to 160, 165, it is a scoreboard which has to be chased by the opposition. And then if they flounder at the start, then it becomes even more trickier.
Yeah.
But having said that, I don't think it was a bad call.
Yeah, it's a fair point you make, because they were 79 when they lost the first wicket in the 10th over. They just replicated that performance. They would have got themselves to 160. And Terry, we must now bring up the possible factor. The big factor is MS Dhoni would have probably read that situation, read this pitch, and taken them somewhere between 150, 160, the kind of form he's been in.
Yeah, I think people might say, oh, you can't just keep talking about Dhoni, and because they miss Dhoni, it's leaving a hole, but it generally is. This might sound a bit silly as well, but even at the toss, like if you want to chase a score and you haven't got Dhoni on your side, you probably second guess yourself a little bit, I suppose. But certainly in that innings there, yeah, he would have certainly added a bit more stability, and just the way he calculates batting towards the end, those last 5 overs, he's brilliant.
Yeah, this is one of his great skills, isn't it? It's not about the shots itself, but he picks up what he needs to do in that. And in his absence, you could see perhaps that was missing.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a massive glue which holds everything together. And then the glue spreads itself every now and then. Or you can say cement or whatever you want to use. But look, it's the reading of the game. It's that cricket sense, which again can't be bought. It is there in him. It's ingrained in him. That's why he's such a fabulous finisher. That's why he's such a fabulous leader of men and reader of situations. So I think that's where Dhoni will always be missed. It's not just what he does with the bat or what he can do with the gloves. It's just the overall package which Dhoni brings into any team where he is.
And what we spoke on the pre-show was that the openers weren't firing. Today, finally, they fired. So clearly, everyone's watching the show, I think. But maybe if you look at that in another way, there was no Dhoni. You got Watson with a start, Faf du Plessis with a start. Perhaps, again, take it a little deeper, do the Warner Bairstow thing where you know these guys could be fragile later on.
Yeah, there's no, you see Watto get off to a reasonable start, even Faf, but they wouldn't be too happy with that. Sort of, okay, Watto might sit there and go, okay, I'm starting to feel a bit better now, going towards the end of the season, and obviously heading towards finals, which they'll be playing in, you would have thought. 31 off 29 still probably suggests that he's not the greatest touch right now, but it's better than what he has been. Faf played it pretty well. 145 striking, that's not a bad.
Sure. Feel good win for Sunrisers, who were under a bit of pressure?
They must win, because you saw that Kings 11 won yesterday. They've broken away from that pile. So you want to be around that top 4, isn't it? Because anybody can be a slippery skin. You never know. Just because you're talking about a RCB with nothing to lose, they might come out firing. You can have these potential banana skins going further on into the tournament. And also, from an SRH point of view, till the time these two guys are there, they need to maximize it, because the way their batting is going, looks like if there is no Warner and Bairstow, they're struggling.
Well, they will lose one in a couple of games' time. In fact, on the 23rd of April is their, if they're going to leave on the 23rd, then 23rd is when they play CSK again in 6 days' time. So they'll probably have that as their final game. Let's have a look at the points table quickly and see what Kartik speaks of, which is wanting to stay connected with the pack. And as a result of that win, they are in the 8-point club. They just pipped Kolkata Knight Riders, who are in a bit of pressure themselves after losing to CSK. Chennai have now got one more game on the road before they return to the comforts of the Chepauk. That's against Bangalore at the Chinnaswamy. So keep an eye out for that. As far as Hyderabad go, it's a much needed win for them. And they've got Kolkata Knight Riders over the weekend. So that should be a good contest. Both teams locked on 8 points and they play each other over the weekend. Right. Let's see what our contest is like on our Fab 4 between Sean Tate and Murali Kartik. And Terry's actually won yesterday, so he's oozing with confidence. So the two of them picked 3 same players. So 180 points, Ravindra Jadeja. What is Murali Kartik got out of Suresh Raina? Let's find out. Oh, it's 3. He has got 13 points. If only Jadeja got you 1 wicket, Teddy.
What did Suresh Raina do?
He got 13 runs.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, run a ball 13. It was it was almost like a game of chess. You've cancelled him out and just picked one left-hander, who's picked the other. And is it
terrible?
Does it make you feel any better that Raina's got 13 of 13 and Jadeja faced 20 balls and got 10 not out?
That's the last time I'm picking Jadeja.
Yeah, had he nicked one for anything at the end,
surely a wicket as well.
You would have been,
runner. He's a great fielder.
A catch, nothing.
Great
Absolutely nothing for you today, Sean Tate. Right, well done, Murali Kartik. He's very proud of this. He's so loving it.
It's a good little strategy there. I like
very smart strategy. Maybe you could try that next time.
I'm going to try.
Yeah, pick 3 of the other guys.
In fact, the funniest is when I was thinking of picking Suresh Raina,
Yeah.
I was thinking, I think I should go with Johnny Bairstow because he's not got enough runs. He will fire,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened. I would have won handsomely.
You don't
Either way,
need it.
either way, I
Yeah.
was not going to win.
You don't need it. Right. Many thanks to
Thank you.
Kartik.
Thank
Many
you.
thanks to Sean Tate. Get these fine gentlemen's thoughts as the IPL goes on. A story from Hyderabad is that finally they've got a much needed win and they've downed the without Dhoni Chennai Super Kings. Let's see how CSK bounce back against Bangalore in a few days. Hyderabad have Kolkata coming up as well. And that's all from us on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday T20.